Here we go. He wasn't unhappy, but he didn't seem to have a direction in life. One day, I went to see him. I told him about the farm you left to him. Your son didn't seem to know much about farming, but he was willing to give it a try. So I brought him to Forget-Me-Not Valley. Your dad and I shared the same dream, you know. I bet he never told you, but I remember it all. This land you see here? Oh, man. The farm. I love it. The farm from my childhood. Getting the old talk down from good old Takakura. He's a good guy. Those eyebrows, though. I do wish I could just, skip this part. I've seen it so many times, but unfortunately, it's not one of these games where they give you a skip option. I mean, it has been a while since I've played, but I'm not gonna forget where everything is. It's not like this is a really long game or anything like that. I just wanna play. But I guess if he just said, hey, have fun, and didn't show me where things were, that might be a bit of a disaster from a game standpoint. Puppies! Now, I don't know about you guys, but I personally really like the pointy-eared dog. I mean, they're both cute, they're dogs, but I don't know, for some reason I really find the pointy-eared one really, really cute. And for some reason in this game, when I was younger, my tradition was to call the dog Cheese. And I think the reason for that is because he's orange, but he's got like a little bit of white on him. So we're just gonna go with good old Cheese here. I don't imagine the dog's too stoked on being called Cheese, but that's what I'm gonna do anyways. And then I think the cat that you get later on is entirely black, and when I was a kid I named the cat Pepsi. Probably won't get to the point where we'll actually get a cat during the stream or anything like that, because that's like quite a ways away, but just making kind of mental notes along the way. I don't know how after all these years that I would still remember that, but I do somehow. So it's a pretty good start to the day. We already have a house and a barn and a whole entire farm. We got a free dog, we've got tools. I mean, yeah, farming is hard work, but just walking into a free house, that's pretty sweet. And we get a free cow! Aw, yeah. Again, as is Harvest Moon tradition, first cow I ever get in every Harvest Moon game is Bessie, the most stereotypical cow name in all of existence. Sweet. I have to think of a name for my farm. I usually go with Meadow. I don't know where I come up with these things, but I just have a hard time coming up with creative names. I just tend to default on the same things I always use. I use Meadow Farm a lot. I've used Heart Farm quite a bit. Green, I like to use as well. But we'll just go with Meadow. It has a nice little ring to it. It's kind of funny that, Takakura says he's not terribly sociable, but then he's willing to introduce you to everybody. I don't know why he wouldn't just let us do it. Also, side note, even as a kid, when I saw Ruby, Tim, and Rock standing next to each other all in a row, I was like, is your son adopted? By chance? Something about this picture just, it isn't right, but... Anyways, that's none of my business. They can do what they want. It's just always a strange thing to me. Ugh, Rock. And then, of course, we can't forget about Nami, even though he's not going to introduce us to her right away. We'll have to find her out on our own. And we got the lovely old couple, Galen and Nina. And Chris. I don't know where Wally and Hugh are, but we'll have to find them later too, I guess. Oh, there they are, her husband and her son. And Griffin and Muffy. And Romana and Sebastian and Lumina. Lumina is not marriageable in this version I'm playing. I am playing the GameCube version. In the special edition for the PS2, you can marry her, but she's not really my cup of tea anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. And then we have our rival farm, so to speak, Vesta, Marlon, and Celia. And then he's like, you know what, I'm too lazy. I'm not going to show you the rest of the valley. You can just do that on your own. It's too far to walk. So we've got quite a few people over there to talk to. Gustafa, Cody, Casey, Patrick, and Daryl. We'll have to find them later. Oh, and then of course we've also got Carter and Flora. Thanks, Takakura. You're a swell guy. And then last but not least, we get to talk to the 3 Harvest Sprites. Nick, Knack, and Flack. They're kind of like a secondary guide in this game. Takakura kind of helps out mostly with like the farming stuff and the shipping and whatnot, but Nick, Knack, and Flack do a couple of little things to kind of help you out here and there as well. And we start our first chapter. Finally. Oh man, this brings me back. We got our nice little shabby shack. Your house gets so much added onto it, like it's ridiculous. Looking at this, I'm just like, this is sad. This house is just sad looking. But that's alright. We have our diary where we can save, our bed, we can change our record, we can watch TV. The only thing that's really interesting on the TV, I think, is the weather, which is always kind of an important thing to keep in mind. We can do some cooking. The thing I like in this game is that you don't have to buy the cooking utensils. You don't have to build the kitchen. Like, you don't have to go through all that crap. You can just start cooking right away, which I think is pretty cool, even though I don't really cook much in this game. And then, of course, we have our calendar. And for those of you who are not familiar with this game, it's different than a typical Harvest Moon game. It doesn't have 30 days in a month, it only has 10. So I actually really personally love that about this game, and I kind of wish that they would go back to that system, or that they would shorten it a little bit. I would even be okay with 15 or 20 days. But I find that as time goes on, you know, and I get older and I have less time for games, it really is a lot of work to try and play 30 days in a season. Anyhow, the first thing we'll do is we'll come and say hello to our cow. We want to make sure to give her lots and lots of attention. And do we have any feed? Yes, we do. We'll have to cut down the grass to make more fodder for her. It's a nice day, so I could probably bring her outside. Now, for the most part, when I play these games, I'm pretty laid back. This game doesn't have a lot of content in it compared to some other games, and I actually wanted to stream this one because I've been playing Harvest Moon DS on the DS, obviously, and it's very much like this game. It takes place in the same area and whatnot, but they added a ton of stuff to do, a ton of content, and whatnot. So it kind of made me want to play this one. The first year that I play this, I usually kind of just focus mostly on getting a wife and building friendships and things like that. You do want money, obviously, to get things done, but this is the type of game where after a certain point, you have so much money that you don't know what to do with it. So, we also don't have a horse right now, so we have to walk around everywhere, which is kind of a pain. Little bit slow, but that's quite alright. Gonna pick up some flowers. Not only can I sell them, but you can also give them as gifts. And there are quite a few people in the valley that like flowers as gifts, which is nice because it's a free gift. You don't have to buy it. And different flowers grow in different seasons and whatnot as well. The sprites, by the way, live in this little tree here by the pond, so you can pop in and see them if you feel like it. That's all there is to really see here. We don't have like a fishing rod or anything, and I think even when we do get a fishing rod, you can't really fish in the pond or anything like that. At nighttime, these lanterns light up, and it looks really pretty over here. There's quite a few villagers that take a walk to the spring and whatnot, so you can talk to them up there. I cannot wait to have a horse, because walking is very slow. And everybody gets up at different times. You'll see Hugh and Wally up very early, running around the valley. They're both into fitness, so you'll see them, you know, running around, getting their exercise in. Here's one of the characters we didn't meet yesterday when we arrived. This is Casey, and he is a pyrotechnician. So he makes fireworks, basically. And he has a twin brother. Now, Casey has a smiley face on his overalls, and his brother has a tulip, I do believe. Patrick has a tulip. So that's pretty much the only way to tell them apart. I'll see if I can find anybody else that we didn't run into. Because I haven't played this in such a long time, I'm not really familiar with their schedules, but it's not a big place. Should be able to find everybody relatively easily. If you go to knock on somebody's door and they're not home, it'll tell you that it'll be locked. Which is a good thing. We don't want to get arrested or beat up for breaking and entering or trespassing. And if I can catch up to this red-haired girl, I want to talk to her. She's one of the girls that you can marry, and we didn't meet her yesterday. She was mentioned as the girl that stays at the inn, but we didn't meet her. So this is Nami. She's basically a traveler who has no place to go. She's kind of like Cliff from Back to Nature and Harvest Moon 64. Same kind of idea. She's come to the valley, but she doesn't know if she wants to stay, sort of thing. This is Nina and Gallen's house. They've kind of retired in the valley. Nina's very nice. She's just a very sweet little old lady. I really like her. And she likes flowers, so I'll give her a little flower here before I go on my way. It's a really good idea to befriend her husband in the first year if you get the chance, because he will be significantly harder to befriend as time goes on. So here's Casey's brother, Patrick, who, like I said, has a tulip on his overalls, even though you can't see them at the moment. See if I can get a good look. You can see there, they dress exactly the same, so. This is Cody's house. He's an artist, and I saw him walking this way, but I think I've missed him. He too likes flowers. He's gonna go look out at the beach, at the sea. Hello, friend. I'm a metallurgist. Oh. I don't remember him introducing himself as a metallurgist, but that's quite alright. He looks kind of scary. He's actually a friendly guy. The only problem with Cody and with some of the villagers in this game is it can be hard to befriend them simply because there are certain times where they don't accept gifts, and you would be trying to give them a gift and they'll just kind of be talking to you and ignoring you. So that's kind of something to keep in mind. I find that Cody's one of the hardest people to actually give gifts to. It's a very, very picky sort of timeline where you could give him things. I also want to say hello to everybody in the stream. I'm sorry I really haven't been talking to you guys. The stream hasn't been too busy, and because I want to upload this to YouTube, I kind of want to keep the stream kind of relevant and whatnot, so. This is the Blue Bar. It's not open right now, but the people who work here also live in the back. So the guy with the ponytail here, he owns the bar. So he kind of makes the drinks, and then this blonde woman in the red dress behind him, she's the barmaid sort of thing. And she's also someone that you can marry. Glad to see you guys are coming out tonight for the stream. I was gonna stream earlier. The problem was I had a little nap. My nap turned out to be like 6 hours, but it's not too late here anyways. So hopefully this is a good time and we'll be able to catch a few people. I will be uploading this to YouTube most likely afterwards though, so if you missed it or you can't stay for a long time or whatever the case may be, I will try and upload this later. Just kind of getting all the introductions out of the way, talking to a few people, having a look around the valley and whatnot. In the DS version, the witch lives in here. In this version of the game, there is no witch, and there's also no harvest goddess, which is interesting because almost every single Harvest Moon game has a harvest goddess. I think in this game, that's basically just like a gardening shed or something that you can't go into, so that's kind of useless. This is the mansion. You can see Romana has a couple of cats here. My kind of woman, I love cats. I have 3 of my own. And she gives you a cat later on in the game if you befriend her. And I don't know who's home right now. I heard the piano playing. Which is usually a sign that somebody's home, because usually if Lumina's home, she'll be playing the piano. You can actually hear it from the outside, which I think is a nice touch. The background music changes, which is kind of neat. But most of the time, I try and catch Lumina when she's out. Just seems much easier to do so than to check every room in the mansion. Sebastian usually stays at the mansion. You don't see him really go out much. I think mostly because he's the caretaker, the butler, whatever you want to call him. So he kind of, watches things. And for those of you just joining me now, I've started a new game, but I've decided not to save it. And here's Lumina. She's very young. I don't know why she won't turn around and talk to me. You're being rude. I think the game puts her at like 18 years old, so it doesn't seem weird when you marry her in the special version. But to me, she looks more like 15 or 16. Anyways, I got off my train of thought. Like I was saying, for those of you who are just joining, I decided to start a new game today just to start things over from scratch. But I didn't want to save over my 2 files because I'm actually almost finished. I think I'm in the late stages of the game where my kid has grown up and he's an adult. And I'm all gray and old and stuff like that. And I never got to see the end of the game, so I would like to do that at some point. So I'm very attached to all of the files that I've put a lot of work into and whatnot. So we're just gonna kind of go with this for now. And I just came back in the mansion because I want to talk to this guy here. This is Dr. Hardy. We didn't get any sort of introduction to him at all, which is kind of surprising. He usually visits the mansion to see Romana. She's one of his lifetime patients. So you'll see him go up there from time to time. Again, very kind of intimidating fella, but very nice. And I think the last place, or the last 2 places that we kind of have to go at this point are the farm, the rival farm. We'll go have a look at what they've got going on. We can go to the inn another day. There's not really anything interesting going on in there. And then we have to go to the dig site, because there are 2 characters that we didn't get introduced to earlier, and the dig site is quite an important place. It kind of plays an important role in getting money and stuff like that. So this is our rival farm. This is where Vesta, her brother Marlon, and their helper Celia live. And this building here, to the left or the right, however you want to look at it, this is where they actually live. And then the other building is where you can buy products from them. So it's a nice, quaint little house. I think Marlon and Vesta, who are brother and sister, by the way, sleep down here, and then Celia has her own room upstairs. And this is your third option for a wife as well, I should mention. And you can actually buy stuff from her. Again, my memories are a little bit fuzzy, and again, I've been playing the DS version, and in the DS version, you can only buy stuff from them at a very specific time in a very specific place, but I think this one is actually a little bit more lenient, and you can buy stuff from them when they're indoors, which is great to know, because I forgot. Their stock changes every season, so this is the stuff you can grow in springtime. And things like peach, orange, grapes, and banana, these are actually trees that you can plant that will sprout certain times of the year, and you can also buy fertilizer. And Celia's journal is right here next to her bed. I'll try and find the other girls' journals too as well, but basically what the journal does is it shows you how much a girl likes you. And this game is also very unique in the sense that you don't have a choice to get married. If by the end of the first year you don't ask one of the girls to marry you, the one with the highest affection will come to your house and propose to you, which I think is pretty cool. But if you mess up and you get a girl you don't want at the end of the year and say you don't want to marry them, the game will actually end, which is kind of crappy. Here's another new character walking down the road here. This is one of the archaeologists. This is Flora, who I love. She is my kind of type, I would say, in Harvest Moon. I like glasses, I like smart, I like geeky, I like quiet kind of girls, you know, like I like the Marys and the Marias. And when I play the DS version, Flora is actually an available wife, and I married her. And when I was a kid, I was always really, really upset that she wasn't available in this game. So unfortunately, she's off limits, but we should introduce ourselves to her nonetheless. And we should also introduce ourselves to the professor, who is kind of the head archaeologist, I would say. His name is Carter, and he allows us to help with the excavation. So when he's down here like this, we can talk to him and he'll give us a shovel, and we can start to dig up these little areas here. Anything that you dig up, he allows you to keep, with the exception of these mysterious tablets. And what the tablets do is they allow the dig site to be expanded each year. So I kind of prefer to do other things, like pretty much anything but farming to make money. I don't know why, I've always been that kind of person. So generally speaking, I spend a lot of time at the dig site. I spend a lot of time sort of foraging and whatnot. I would like to get some chickens. I much prefer taking care of livestock than I guess birds, than I do actual livestock like cows and chickens. Cows and sheep, I should say. Cows, sheep, goats, those kinds of things. Harvest Moon probably isn't the best game for me as I get older, because I just find that I just get lazier and lazier. But that's alright. It's also important not to stay up too late when you play this game. Unlike other games in the series, you won't automatically wake up at 6 a.m. I think your character has to sleep for 8 hours regardless. So if you go to bed at midnight, he's going to sleep till 8 in the morning. Just a side note. Couple new characters here as well. This is Murray. He is a homeless man who walks around the valley. He'll steal your stuff sometimes, and he'll also set up an area where he'll be asking for money, but he never leaves the valley. Actually, here he goes right now. You can see he's set up a little collection cup, and he'll ask for donations. And then finally, this is Gustafa. He is a musician, definitely a hippie, as you can tell. Very, very, very nice guy. He'll walk around the valley playing music. He's always very, very friendly, always has, nice things to say about people. Now that it's nighttime, I'll go back to the bar for a moment. I'll show you guys the location of Muffy's journal. It's right here in this flower pot. You can buy drinks from Griffin once the bar opens, if you wish. And I would show you guys the location of Nami's journal, but Nami is the hardest girl of them all to not only win over, but she's also the hardest one to track because her schedule is so very sporadic. She has to be in her room in order to look at her journal. Her journal is in her room in the inn, but I tend to only be able to find her very early or very late. So anyhow, tomorrow I think we're going to go to bed soon. My goals are going to be to chop up and make some fodder for my cow, since I won't have enough fodder to feed her tomorrow. Forgot to milk her today, which is bad news because that's probably going to be my first bit of money for the first bit of the game is actually, milking. And you can use the milker or you can milk your cows by hand. I think milking them by hand increases their affection, though. It's better for the cow's well-being to milk them by hand. When you have a kid, depending on how you milk the cow, it will change his career path. If you use like the milker, he'll be more into like, I think, science type of stuff. But if you actually milk the cows by hand, he'll be more interested in being a farmer. So, So I guess we're gonna get started real freaking early today. But that's alright. We're not really in any sort of hurry. You also need to keep your character fed. If he gets hungry, his stomach will start growling, which is really, really irritating. That's probably one of the things I dislike most about this game. So for now, even eating stuff that you find out in the wilderness, like eating those little herbs or eating mushrooms or anything you find, is acceptable. And you can do things like feed your dog, but honestly, your dog will never die. So it's completely optional. It's more or less just a optional, I don't want to be a monster and not feed my dog sort of thing. But just letting you guys know that if you don't feed your dog, he won't die. He's with you for life. He's your best friend for life, even if you don't feed him. Which I can't say is the same for my cats. If I don't feed them, they will be very upset with me. The tools that we have right now are basic tools, and they use up a lot of energy. We have the heavy sickle, the heavy hoe, we have the regular watering can, and things like that. We will have an opportunity to get better tools. This will allow us to get things done quicker and more efficiently without using as much energy. But for now, we only have one cow, so it's not like we have to chop up the whole field. Just enough food for a couple of days. And of course, this stuff gradually grows back as time goes on, so you never run out of fodder, which is really nice, because in other games, sometimes you have to plant seeds to make grass. And she didn't even eat her fodder, that's okay. I'm not gonna milk her while she's asleep, because it upsets her, and it makes her angry, so I don't want to do that. And for those of you who are asking, my cow's name is Bessie, which, as I explained when I named her, is kind of like my go-to cow name. It's just a tradition. My first cow is always named Bessie, and then I'll kind of just go from there and name them. My sheep, usually, if it will fit, I'll name them Lamb Chop, but games usually don't allow you to use that many characters, so I usually go with something stupid like Ba, you know, stereotypical kind of cow name and sheep names. So we're gonna ship our milk. Takakura can pick that up and bring us some money back. At the end of the day, he'll bring everything back, and it will automatically be deposited. We don't have a lot of money right now, but we can put in orders, and Takakura will go to town and bring stuff back for us. So we can order chicken, sheep, we can order cows, tools. You can see here that we have options for all of these tools right now. Clippers are required for sheep, same with shears. Different options for watering cans. I might actually buy the light sickle because I don't know, why not. And you can put in 2 different orders per day, so you can order like 2 different kinds of tools or 2 different kinds of items. Like you can order a tool and then medicine, or you know, higher and better grades of feed. I'm also going to buy some animal medicine. I don't foresee my animals getting sick, but it never hurts to have animal medicine on hand. It is the most devastating thing in this game when your animals die, because they really play it up and make it really gruesome in comparison to other games, and it really hits you hard. They don't screw around. And then we also have options to make or build different kinds of buildings: a food processing room, a milking room, and a pond. If you want ducks, you'll want to get the pond. And I think chickens are like 500. Oh, they're actually 900 a piece. That's alright. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna buy a chicken so that I can start getting eggs and milk on a daily basis. And Takakura is up very early. I think he gets up around 5, maybe-ish. So you want to make sure that you have anything you want shipped, or you have any orders placed by 5 in the morning. Alright, is there anything I didn't pick up yesterday? I don't think that there is, but things tend to grow back pretty quickly, especially flowers and stuff like that. So maybe I'll go and pick a couple of more flowers and wait for daybreak to come. And we shouldn't have to wait too long to get our horse, and when we do get our horse, we'll be able to get around and do things that much faster. Which will be fantastic. But because you have so much time, and for the most part so little things to kind of do in this game, it's not like we're really in that much of a hurry. Maybe I'll plant some stuff. I got some tomato seeds. Maybe I'll plant some tomatoes. Maybe I'll do some digging today. The dig site is so small at this point that it's probably not a big deal for me to go and do some digging. I can probably get it done pretty quickly. Okay. And when you plant stuff, you want to kind of plant stuff apart. So most traditional Harvest Moon games, you get a bag of seeds and you plant them in a 3x3 square, but in this game, when you get seeds, one bag is 1 seed, which will work for 1 square. And in this game, it seems like when you plant things close together, there's more of a chance that it'll die. Okay, I was gonna say, I also really hope that tomatoes are actually gonna be able to I can't get my words. I'm gonna be able to actually plant them this season. But it looks like it'll be okay. It'll be okay. So this field here to the left side of your house kind of has crappy quality soil, so when you plant stuff here, the stuff you get isn't going to be, great quality. This field here, you can see that the soil is a bit of a better color. It's going to have sort of medium quality, and then this big field over here has the best quality of soil, but you can also change that by using fertilizer. You can use fertilizer on crops, or you can use them on actual just pieces of soil and whatnot. So once you get money, I think fertilizer is a really, really good sort of investment to make. I'm gonna check in on Bessie here and see if she's awake. It looks like she is. Hello, girl. We'll milk her, we'll give her some love, we'll talk to her. And as one of the people in the chat pointed out, it's good to mention that cows in this game don't give milk for a very long period of time. Like Takakura mentioned, she had just given birth about 10 days ago, so she can give milk. But they only give milk for about 30 days before you have to get them pregnant again. So you kind of have this endless cycle where you have to keep doing that in order to keep milk production going. Or you can just sell your cow and buy another one. Whatever you want. Hopefully by the time she stops giving milk, I'll have enough money to buy a miracle potion and get her pregnant. There's not much going on at the spring today. So maybe I'll head on over to the dig site. It's still early, but because the farm is still kind of starting out, there's not really a whole lot to do. Tomorrow we'll have a chicken to take care of so we can see what that's like. We'll start getting our first little bit of money from the shipping container, which will be nice. Carter's not at the dig site yet, so I'm just going to give him a couple of minutes to mosey on in there. I'm going to go ahead and eat this before I start to feel hungry. And let me know in the chat, I'm interested to know which one of the girls you prefer to marry. Because I think it will really kind of surprise you guys after talking about how I like other sorts of characters in the games. You know, I like nerdy, quiet, kind of, cute girls with glasses. But I go for a completely different type in this game. You only have 3 choices, so, take your pick. You either get the plain Jane farmer girl, you get the flirty barmaid, or you get the, antisocial traveler. So. Now that Carter and Flora are down here at the dig site, I should be able to help them dig. So you can go ahead and dig around on the squares using your spade, and like I said, you get to keep everything that you find. So you can find fossils, coins, you can find statues, all sorts of really cool things. Gems, ores. You can't put these types of things in your shipping container. Your shipping container is only for farm-related items. So if you want to sell this stuff, what you have to do is sell it to the traveling merchant that comes on the 3rd and the 8th of every month. And as the years go on, the dig site gets bigger and you have more options for what it is that you can dig up. You get some really, really interesting and some really nice, expensive items as time goes on. And it should also be noted that you can dig in each of these areas as many times as you want, and it's completely randomized. So if you just feel like, I don't want to do anything else today, I just want to dig, um, then you can do that all day. You can do that till the cows come home. There is a certain point in the day where Carter says it's getting too late, we're gonna stop digging now, let's go and see what we dug up today. So you can't do this infinitely. Yeah, you know what I mean. So we're getting a lot of Muffy love, which I'm liking. Few votes for Celia. Nami kind of scares you. The thing about Nami, in this game anyways, I think she's a bit better in the DS version. The only reason I don't marry Nami and the feeling I get from her is that she didn't really want to get married. If you marry her and you observe how she is when she is married, she doesn't act like much of a wife. She's out late, she goes to the bar, she leaves your kid at home all day. They fight as time goes on and your kid gets older. They have a very, very kind of tumultuous relationship. And she just doesn't really seem to care all that much. So I almost kind of feel bad marrying her. I kind of feel like I trap her. Like, this isn't really what she wanted. She maybe thought that's what she wanted at first, but she changes her mind, kind of thing. And her son, I think, is also the most challenging in terms of getting along with him, because he's very kind of angsty, I guess is a good word for it. Like, he plays, he imagines things a lot, he thinks a lot, he's very quiet, he doesn't take a lot of interest in things. But for the person asking in the chat who the Karen-esque tomboy is, I think that Nami would be the closest to a tomboy, if that's what you're asking. And we have a new chicken. So I'm not real creative with these names, guys, okay? I usually now, as a tradition, I name my first chicken Failstar. And then after that, I just go with stupid names like Bawk and Chick and Chirp and Sheep. So, not exactly in the creativity department, but... Ooh, what's Takakura got for me? Oh, he's got my sickle. Wonderful. And he's got my animal medicine that I ordered. I guess because he leaves so early in the morning, he also comes back pretty early. There's my dog. So I guess I'll change out the hoe. I'll change out the heavy one for the light one. No, come on. Work with me, menu. There we go. Okay. I should also have really bought my birds some bird seed. That would have been a good idea. But just like your cow, you can leave your chickens out to graze, which kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. But I think the explanation for it in this game and many other games is that you can leave the chicken out to like peck anything it finds on the ground and like worms and stuff like that. When I was playing Harvest Moon DS, I started naming my animals, or more specifically my chickens, after places. So I would name my chickens, for example, like China, Italy, Korea, basically any place that had a short name that was like 6 letters or less. So, Canada, USA, I just went on like a big place naming, thing, and that was kind of what I started to name my chickens. I don't know why. I think because I had like 10 of the suckers and I just couldn't think of names, and so I thought, oh, hey, naming them after places might be a good idea. Come on, damn it. There we go. Why does Takakura look so done with life? Like, he always looks so mad. Well, you gotta understand, like, Takakura is an old farming guy. He's probably been doing farm work and hard labor his whole life. And since your father died, he's probably been taking care of the farm all by himself. I think that takes a toll after a while. You would have to be, kind of tired too, I would think. I can see Nami rolling over across the bridge here. I'm gonna see if I can follow her back to her room. One of the things to note with Nami is that she doesn't like flowers. She's probably... Ah, damn it. Not you, Flora. Nami. Okay, there we go. Yeah, Nami doesn't like flowers, but she does like stuff from the dig site. And if they won't take a gift, they won't take it. They'll just, comment on it. So unfortunately, we don't have anything on us right now that she'll take. She might take the fossil. I know she really likes the statues. So we'll give her the fossil. And there is a type of flower that blooms in the summer that she accepts. So we'll keep an eye out for that. So we're just gonna be a creepy stalker and just, just don't mind me. I'm not creeping up behind you or anything, but I really want to tell people where your journal is. But I don't know where she'll go because she has a very unpredictable schedule. And she's just gonna walk right past. Okay, wonderful. I think our best bet is to try and catch her in the morning. So maybe we'll just go to the inn super early in the morning and try and catch her. I'm gonna try and give Muffy a present. She might not take it while she's working, but Muffy, I think, is the easiest girl to impress because she likes pretty much anything girly. She likes moon ore, she likes anything shiny and sparkly, she loves flowers, and Muffy's really kind of lonely. She just likes when you talk to her, really. So unfortunately, I don't think, and it doesn't look like she will take anything when she's here. So I'll have to catch Muffy when she's out in the valley, or I'll have to catch her before the bar opens and give her some gifts. And the other villagers are worth befriending because you can get certain things from them. And here's Daryl. He's the mad scientist, wow, I cannot not talk today. Wow, okay, energy researcher, please come by my lab sometime and I will show you one of my amazing experiments. Ugh, okay. Daryl is probably one of my favorite villagers, because he's nuts. And I love it. As time goes on, if you befriend him, he'll come to your farm and he'll try and look at your cows and wants to do like cow experiments, and he'll look in and spy on your kid when your kid grows up. So anyways, he's really interesting. He kind of keeps things interesting. I really like him. He's quite a character. And if you befriend him, he gives you one of the best free items in the entire game, which is also worth noting. He gives you a seed maker, which I think if you buy it costs like $6 grand, and he gives it to you for free, which is pretty awesome. Some characters like Vesta will give you a tool. I think Wally gives you a tool as well. He gives you some clippers. And then as you go on, if you befriend people when you're a kid, when you have a kid and your kid grows up, they'll give you certain items that will sway your kid towards a certain career. So it's really worth it to make friendships, you know, sort of early on. And I see in the chat that people are discussing Muffy's room. We went and saw the back area of the bar where Muffy and Griffin live, and in the DS version, you can actually go up the stairs to visit Muffy and talk to her, but in this version, it's like a big secret. They're like, oh, she has a girly room and it's rude to trespass and we can't go in there, so we won't be able to catch Muffy or see her in her room, but we'll be able to see her out in the valley. So I hope that my chicken actually ate. It's probably not going to be a good start to this chicken's life if I've starved it. But I should order some chicken feed ASAP. I can water my crops again. Before I go to bed. And finally, we'll just have a look in here. Check things out. So off of 3 bottles of milk, 4 bottles of milk, you know, I made $400. So it's about $100 a bottle, which isn't bad. If you can do this every day, you know, it does build up pretty quickly. So that'll give you a good idea about how much money you're going to get if you just have one cow. Okay. Let's order some bird feed. Bird feed is a lot more expensive than I remember it being. It's kind of insane to me because keeping chickens and birds is usually a lot cheaper than having livestock, but I guess I'm remembering it wrong because it seems really expensive to keep chickens. Although, keeping in mind that when you buy a bag of bird seed, it lasts quite a while, especially if you don't have a lot of birds. Like if I just have that one bird, that bag of bird feed should last a couple of days. And then hopefully by that point, I'll be able to get eggs from it and it will kind of pay for itself.